Hi, welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the new streaming network.com where you'll find all of the Going Bold media and the Going Solo media. We want to thank you for joining us here today. And all of our information is right there on newstreamingnetwork.com. Guess what? We've got our Roku up, and all you have to do is go to New Streaming TV and join us right there on our Roku, and we hope that you do. This show here today is Linked to Expert Business Showcase. I am one of your hosts. I'm Cece Shatz, the doyen of relationship building, and I have my wonderful good friend here with me, Joanne Weiland. Joanne, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Joanne Weiland, when you can fly. I created Link to Expert so you can find an expert in minutes or be found as an expert in minutes. And we're so glad you're here with us today.
We are so excited because we have a wonderful guest here today. I'm going to go ahead and bring up our topic. Our topic is creating a dynamic and charismatic presence online. And we have Laura Doman. So let's bring her up, and I'll let you go ahead and Joanne, introduce her.
Well, I am so excited to have Laura on our show because I actually met her on a masterclass with the Podfest Masterclass a couple weeks ago. I took 6 pages of notes. This woman is totally amazing. She taught me so much about LinkedIn that day. And since then, of course, we've had several conversations, and I continue to learn from her. So if you're an executive or an entrepreneur, I really recommend that you join us right now and listen for the next 40 minutes or so, because of the fact that you are going to get so many tips, so many ways to be able to promote yourself, because of the fact that she helps people be much more like professional but charismatic, and as well as just making you feel natural online on camera. So anyway, welcome, Laura. We're so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you so much, Joanne and Cece, for having me. I'm delighted.
Well, we just think that we always love to share these types of tips with people because of the fact that we all are experts at something, but we're not experts at everything. So that's why we always love to, share each other's expertise and insights with each other. And I know, Laura, just, like you have so much for us to discuss, but I was curious. What got you started as an actor? Like, did you start doing this in grade school, or, because I believe your acting was the foundation of everything else that we'll be talking about.
Yes, actually, I could say I'm in my second childhood, because in my first one, I was just born wanting to perform. I just loved it. I was the little kid putting on plays everywhere and all through school. But I chose a business career, probably in no small part because my parents didn't get this acting thing and just said no. But I always did it on the side. And then later in life, when I had the opportunity, I said, why not? I don't want to have any regrets when I'm on my deathbed, hopefully many years from now. And I want to do what I've always wanted to do. And I have been having the time of my life on camera and in voiceover, and now speaking and helping others do the same. And it's just marvelous.
But I am curious, when you had your high-tech background, working with IBM, selling,
yes.
Actually.
Yes.
Did that help you too with the acting? Because of the fact that I feel like sometimes when we're in sales, especially at that capacity, just that you're more like on stage more than you realize in front of many people, because a lot of times, it requires you to promote to a board of directors or a committee that's making the decision to, in this case, buy your IBM products. Did that help you with acting?
Absolutely. In fact, what I do now is bridge business and the entertainment world to bring the best of both to each. Because, well, back in college, I did a lot of extemporaneous speaking, which were competitions. They gave you a quote or a saying, you had a few minutes to think about it, then you had to speak for 10 minutes. And that segues perfectly. I didn't think I'd get into sales because growing up, I thought, I don't want to be selling used cars. Well, when you're in high tech for IBM, Texas Instruments, and all the .coms that I was part of, it's more of a consultative sale. And the first thing in business, as well as in entertainment, is to listen. You listen to the client. You listen to what's going on, to everything around you. And I also found that they are two sides of the same coin. Because my favorite part of being in high-tech sales, surprise, surprise, the calling on people, and the presentations. And I found every opportunity I could to get in front of people, to write papers and speak at conferences. Now, the interesting thing in business is that you don't find as many creative people, or they don't necessarily wear it on their sleeve. When I got into the entertainment world, people were amazed by, you are so well organized. You've got your invoicing here. You got that. Yeah, well, that's the background. So it's flipped. These are all communication skills, and all the entertainment aspect of it, getting comfortable talking to people, public speaking, knowing how to work with the media, supports you in a business goal. But you flip it back, and this is especially true with voiceover. When you're running your own business, and that's partly why I'm so attracted to it, is that you've got to do everything. Just like with consulting and coaching, you've got to find your own clients. You've got to be able to market to them. You've got to be able to follow up. You've got to, do the work and invoice and et cetera, et cetera. So I find it extremely useful. And there are a lot of talents that find it very helpful to go back and get a little business training just so they don't get taken advantage of.
Oh, it's so true. I believe that, most of us did come from corporate. And what the difference is that usually you did one thing, like you and I were in sales, just as an example. And, but you didn't learn how to do the other aspects of it, the invoicing, the accounting, the PR, the marketing, so it's just so many aspects of it. And I always think that's why when our, many, of our grandparents, they were entrepreneurs. And they were like the only blacksmith in town. They were the only shoemaker in town, and they didn't have to compete with everybody all over the world. So whenever somebody did need a new pair of shoes, they went to our grandfather that was the shoemaker, because that's the only place they could get shoes. So it's just a totally different world too now, because of the fact that then, of course, everybody seemed to go into wanting to have a job at a company. And I'm assuming, but I really do think that, companies were founded because of the fact that so that one person wouldn't have to do everything. And then it's so interesting how more and more people are getting downsized, right-sized, or even choosing to leave on their own and becoming entrepreneurs again. And so it is a whole new learning curve to learn how to do all these different things. But that was even one of the reasons I created LinktoEXPERT, so you could hire an expert when you need them, not as a full-time employment, because a lot of them actually even got laid off because they had such specific expertise, but that company didn't need them every day or even to pay that salary every week, because of the fact that, the other times then they would just be doing spreadsheets or whatever. And I'm not knocking spreadsheets. I just mean in compared to their, extreme expertise in another area. So we're so glad that you're here to help so many people, because one of the biggest things I think is to market your business. And with you being able to help them to do that, feel more comfortable when you're on camera and everything, I think is priceless. So Laura, thank you for branching out into that. Do you help people in just Atlanta area, or where do you?
Wherever people might be. I've worked with people all over the world, and it's fantastic, because with the Zoom technology or whatever else you're using, you don't have to be physically there. Now, if somebody needs, let's say, a lot of hand-holding and they want to create their own videos and they got to create their own marketing series, and they want somebody to bring stuff in or coordinate it for them or just train them and literally hold their hand, it helps to be there in person. And hey, you either can do it locally or they can bring you in. It doesn't matter. But there is so much that can be done online. And it's incredible how much you can see and learn. And that's part of the reason that I create a lot of videos, because a lot of that can be transmitted. And I give it away for free. There's so much great stuff out there. And, if you want to know how do I tailor it for me and my situation, that's when we work together one-on-one.
Oh, it's priceless, just because I can still remember one time I was a finalist for an award for being the businesswoman of the year in Tampa. And I just thought, I got this. I memorized my speech and everything like that. And I'll never forget, because I was always our members to do videos. So I thought, I can do this. Anyway, I got up there. I sounded like a robot in front of the camera. Hi, I am Joanne. And they tried it like 3 times. And finally, the videographer said, cut, cut it, cut. And then he just started talking to me, but I didn't know he still had it rolling. But when I was just talking like we're talking now as a conversation, I was fine. And so, I feel like even though I was involved in so many other things similar to it in the past, but when it's just you on camera promoting what you do best, it really is intimidating. So I think it's wonderful that you actually help people with that, because even when you get better at it, sometimes I think you need a refresher course, because you might start something new. Like you do all different types of things on YouTube with video, just as an example. And they're, sometimes funny, sometimes serious. I mean, we're going to be talking later about your book, about marketing. So I feel like you kind of need to fine tune your different types of messages you're doing too, to make it feel natural.
Well, Joanne, that's why I have two parts to the essentials of what I teach. First of all, it's getting more comfortable on camera, how to relax, how to prepare, how to be able to show your real self and not get all tied up in knots. And then the second part is how to be dynamic, how to use the media, how to be able to really play to the audience, and not in a fake way, but in a very genuine way.
Yes.
I think that's so important as we move forward in, in online presence, because we're seeing more and more. I mean, before, when I started doing this, there was hardly any people out there doing it. And they all said, oh, you need to go on TV, you need to do that. And I said, you know what? I think internet is the place to be. I think, that's eventually we're all going to be going on internet. And now look at us now. And so I think as we're moving forward into the internet, doing more and more, we are, we opened ourselves up to podcasting, right? That was huge. Now everybody's a podcaster. Now we're doing videos. Now more and more people are starting to do videos. And just like me, we don't know what we're doing, but we do it. We just get out there and we start doing it. And it's nice to know that somebody is coming along and is an expert and going to help us a little bit to kind of fine tune what we do and how we go about doing it. Because the reality is we don't want to appear fake, and we want to appear sincere, but we do want to get our point across. And I've been told that when you have a show like this, the first 7 minutes, if you don't capture them within 7 minutes, you lose them. And so it's very, very vital to be able to step forward in your introduction, being able to, be, I would say there on presence, be able to so that they can be relatable to you, so they'll stick around. So tell us a little bit about, the nuts and bolts of as you're moving forward into doing this, because you help, probably hundreds of people do something like what we're doing, right? So how do you go about helping your clients being able to step forward? I think the number one thing I was told when I first started, Laura, is just do it. Okay.
Yes, that's the hardest part.
Yeah, so many people say, yeah, I really want to do that, and they don't do it, right? And so that's that. I got that one down. Okay, I've done it. So now, how can we move forward and be a little bit better, with each show, with each thing that we do?
Okay, well, first of all, what I want to say is that when you're creating videos, it's a little different from a podcast. You don't have 7 minutes. You have not even 7 seconds to make an impression. And that's why I kind of call what I do is stop in the scroll, because they're going to give you 2 or 3 seconds to see, is this somebody I want to listen to? Do I believe them? Do I like anything here? And you got to hit it right out of the gate. So you have to understand that. And you got to also understand that video is the predominant way of marketing online today. I think 88% of people prefer video over reading a text. And if you were to not use video, you're losing a whole market, because YouTube is now only number 2 to Google in terms of search. Google actually owns YouTube. And most people go there when they have a question, they're just typing it out and they're looking for an answer. So it behooves you to be able to do it. Now, getting up to what you're saying, it doesn't have to be a full-blown production. And actually today, it's a lot more effective if it's just natural and casual, because people don't want Slick Willy. They want to know who you are. what you have to offer and what's in it for them. So when I work with somebody, the first thing to do is to have a conversation. What is it that you're trying to achieve? What problems have you had in the past? What experience have you had? Where do you want to go? And also, what is the purpose? Because I know this from my on-camera work as well as with voiceovers. Different ways to approach everything. If you're going to put together a commercial, more likely than not, it's going to be very polished. If you're going to be doing a training video internally, you're going to want to be able to teach. And you take your time to connect with that audience, even if you don't see them when you're up there talking or behind a mic and you don't see them. But if it's just you putting something out on social media and they want to see who the real person is, well, you know what? You can pretty much do what you like. Just get to your message, be clear, concise, and show your real personality. Like for me, humor. I mean, I'm not a comedian, but I don't know. I just got a wry way of looking around at the world. And I find that people respond very well to that because in today's market, people do not want to be preached at. In voiceover, we call the announcer read, that big booming voice, usually a male voice, come downtown and go and buy this car, whatever, furniture, big sale. All right, we all grew up on it. Now it's very laid back, like your best friend is saying, and that's the most common spec, conversational, like a friend. Hey, yeah, you know what? I tried this really cool pen. You should try it too. And people rely on that, and they feel more comfortable, especially when you're getting to the Gen Zs or even the rising Gen Alphas. They want to know exactly what you have to offer, and they want to do it quickly. So once you know where you want to go with it and what you want to do, understand your audience and understand what the end result's going to look like. If you're doing something for television, maybe you're just appearing briefly or you're a voiceover. You don't want to take away from the visuals. But if you're doing something, let's say on radio, or people are going to listen to it on their phones just with an app, that's when you might want to make it a little more interesting and tell the story. And so from there, then we can figure out what's the best way to get you, your business, and your message across. And that's tailored for every single individual. And they're all different, which is half the fun.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Years ago, a friend of mine that's in radio, has a radio station, he was ill, and all of us kind of got together, the podcasters and such, and got together, and we were going to try to help him do some of his advertisements that he had. So he sent me one to do, and I did it. And he came back and said, now, you just don't have it, Cece. I'm sorry.
Aww.
Because I don't have that. Well, welcome to, or things like that. I don't really, And he said, you got to do that. He said, try it again, do it again. And you've got to have all these emphasis and stuff. And I did it again. And he said, no, it's just not going to work. But then again, I stop. And when you were talking here and you mentioned that, I start to think, do people really like that? Do they know that voice is so dramatic that it's not necessary? If you're trying to get, like you said, if you're trying to sell something, can't you just sell it and be a human being saying, hey, this is a good product, this is a good idea, try it out, do that kind of thing. But anyhow, it's just, I thought it was very funny because he said, nope, it's not going to work here. And I've been doing this for like years. And he said, no, it's just not going to work for you. But yeah, so to each his own. We're not perfect, right? And again, I love the idea about your audience, because I love our audience. Everyone out there listening, thank you so much, because they are so forgiving. They are so kind and sweet, because they realize that this show has really never been about, all of the shows on our network has never been about glitz and glam. It's always been about what we can do to try to help you. And so they know when they tune in to something that we're presenting, and I'm hoping today they're going to be tuning in, listening to, how to maybe make their videos better, or step out and start doing a video or a show, like a TV show, if they've thought about doing it, that they have the courage to be able to step forward to do those things. Because you don't have to be perfect. Like you said, you just really don't have to be. And I agree with what you were saying about, like you have to capture them at the beginning. And I will be very, very, humble and say that, we had our stats on the Roku channel. People tune in 4 hours at a time and listen to our shows.
Wow.
And it's just, I mean, it's a remarkable of what they do. And so they're there for the content. They're not there on whether I'm having a good hair day. And I appreciate that. So I just love that. So I just think that people out there need to know that if you've got something you need to share, start sharing it, doing it. And then if you feel insecure about it, then go to Laura and she will help you get a little bit more polished. Try to figure out how to curve it to where you're comfortable with being able to do it. And I think that's the key, is being comfortable going forward, because you're definitely, Laura, very comfortable in your own skin. You're very comfortable with what you do. And so, helping those be able to feel that same way as they're presenting is a key. It's a huge plus.
Well, would you like me to run down some tips for how to get more comfortable and relaxed, and then
that would be great. Yeah, okay. That would be great.
All right, great. I'm going to do this in 2 parts because you got to get comfortable and then you get charismatic. The first part, how to get ready and prep, especially if you're scared and you haven't done it before. Start with your physical preparation. I would even back up and say, first of all, know what you're going to be talking about. If you're just going to start the camera and go, that's not going to be very engaging. So have an idea of what you want to talk about, who you're talking to, and what you want them to understand or take away with them. That whole call to action. So when you prepare, the very first thing you're going to want to do, starting an hour to 2 hours beforehand, this is where I bring in my prop, hydrate. And I'm not talking coffee, people. I'm talking water, because it will open everything up. It will allow the words to come through and you won't have a frog in your throat. And have it handy, because sometimes you just get a little dry mouth and people will wait. The second thing to do is to get comfortable in your body. Now, I'm the kind of person who works out in the morning just to get it out of the way, and I feel good. And that also helps me relax into it, because any stress or any kind of weird postures I was in while I slept, they're kind of gone by then. But if you don't have a chance, even a little walk around, here are a couple things you can do right before you go on camera. Very simple. First of all, we all keep a lot of tension in our shoulders. Raise them up to your ears, drop. Do that a few times. You gotta feel a little bit better. Move your head around. And then remember those puppets where you go to the children's museum, you can put a button there and you can make the eyebrows go up and down? Yeah, make your eyebrows go up and down. Try the same thing with your mouth. Big smile, big frown. Who cares if it looks weird? Nobody has to see it. You guys do, but that's all right. Now, if you want to start with some vocal workouts, this is another one you can try. You can do some easy tongue twisters. And anybody who's ever done improv probably knows all about red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Or one that's another favorite is like Unite, New York. It just gets your mouth going. The other thing you can do, and this is kind of fun, especially if you got little kids at home, and don't laugh, you are going to pant like a dog. Seriously. It loosens it all up. And if you're not sure if you're going to fall all over your words, then what you can even do is try it in a funny voice first. So if I'm going to say, oh, try out this pen, I might go, try out this pen. Just exaggerated. And then when I say it, try out this pen, it gets a little more natural. Now, you can even get full body workouts in there. You could do some knee bends, and you can bend over in half, and you can move your shoulders and your arms. If you do that for a little bit, you're going to get comfy. Now, how do you use the camera? The number one secret is to talk to one person. I know you're looking at a little green or red dot, and maybe there are other people around, and maybe there aren't. But just imagine you're talking to somebody who likes you, cares about you and what you're going to say, and needs it. And if it helps to put a picture of somebody right next to the camera lens, then do it. But that's how you make it conversational. That's where I could feel like, oh, I'm talking to Joanne. Oh, I'm talking to Cece. What do I have to worry about? And then you let your own natural self come in. Another tip is to realize this. Anything small, looks huge on camera. That means you're dealing with a frame. And your frame is probably, if I look there, it's here, up here. It's not my whole body. And keep in mind that we don't know how big a screen's going to be. It could be really small, like on somebody's phone. They could project it on TV as well, a TV screen or a big monitor. Keep in mind, even the smallest movements are magnified. So don't go wild. If you're a hand talker, gesturing wildly can be quite distracting. Even if it's normal person, it can be overly much. Don't keep shifting from side to side. Get grounded. If it helps to sit, sit. Usually I would recommend a backless stool. So you're not just kind of leaning back and doing one of these. If you're standing, have a comfortable stance and plant your feet, because you don't want to drift off screen while you're talking. The next thing you know, you're not there. Just realize before you're looking at your eyes. You know, the eyes are the window of the soul, and that's what they're going to hear. Now, a lot of people are very concerned about filler words. Yeah, you know, like. What do you do about that? Well, a lot of that is due to nerves. A lot of that is just wanting to get this whole experience over as quickly as I possibly can. And you're talking maybe too quickly. You got to let your brain catch up. Because when you let your brain catch up, you're letting everybody else's brains catch up too. Especially if you're going to do something that's very important. Take the time so that they can hear what you're trying to say. Use short sentences. And if you need to take a pause, like you're thinking, most people like E.F. Hutton are going to listen. It doesn't mean you're going to pause for 5 minutes, but you're just collecting your thoughts. And it will show that you care and that you're going to be very precise in what you want to share with them, because, you know, you don't want to waste anybody's time. You can vary your volume. You can go faster on some more exciting things and slow it down when you've got something really important to do and use some emphasis. So right out of the gate, those are things that you can try. And the best thing of all is just to practice it. This is where these mobile devices are so great. Just put up your video and practice it. Get used to it. And by the way, these do make great recording devices. I do a lot of my short videos on this. If you're going to do it, though, use a tripod, because it can be very disconcerting to have the screen moving around because you're holding it like that. Now, if you're going to be making your videos and you want to know what kind of a setup, tripod with a camera and a mic. Sometimes these are all contained. If you're far away, you can use a lapel mic, and make sure you have proper lighting. For example, sitting right here, I'm in my office and I have 2 ring lights. One on the other, each on the other side of my camera, about 45-degree angle. So it shines light here and you can see me. The other thing I would recommend is consider your backdrop and don't wear anything that clashes with it. So if you have a busy background, don't wear busy, crazy plaids. Keep it simple. The same thing goes with any hair or makeup. And just be yourself in the way you look, in the way you act, the way you dress. So that's a lot thrown out there right there.
That's great. It's great advice. It's great advice. I know the lighting is so important. It's like where I am now, unfortunately, I've just kind of stuck with it, but it's a yellow light. And the yellow light really does bad for my, I'm so pale. And so it's like, oh, it really washes me out. So it's very, very, I'm not in my normal setting. So you take what you've got and you just go with it. But it's good to know these things. And the biggest tip I can give when you're doing something online is do not wave your hands around and do a lot of movement. The reason being is it's harder for that to catch up. And so you'll have some lag time, you'll have things like that. So you've got to be very careful, you know, if you're a talker that moves your hands all the time. So yeah, so that's really great. But your advice is just awesome. It's absolutely terrific. You know, being able to go forward and do the videos. Do you have any other questions, Joanne, for her?
Well, the one thing that I thought you would mention, and maybe I misunderstood, breathing. I do a lot of breathing exercises before I go on camera. Do you agree with that?
Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, if you're especially nervous, you can do very simple breathing. And it could be as simple as breathe in like through the diaphragm, hold it for a while, and breathe out through your mouth. And that can help relax your whole self. And there's even a technique that's very good to help you go to sleep at night. It's called the 4-7-8 method. Breathe in for 4, hold for 7. You could do it 7, yeah. And then breathe out slowly for 8.
I do something similar before I go on camera, or even if I'm going into a meeting or doing a presentation or whatever. And speaking of that, I'm just always curious, like what you do with the people. There's some people that I meet that they say they hate their voice. They don't think they sound like that when they hear it. They say on camera, I don't really look like that. Oh my God, what happened? So is that when you can come in and do their voiceovers for them?
Absolutely. Yes. Some people need to make videos, but they don't want to be on camera and they certainly don't want to narrate it. That's when you can bring people there who can do it for you professionally, on camera, and even much more commonly with voiceover. So, for example, if somebody has just wonderful footage and maybe it's a story where it's all visual, but they want somebody to read the words, you bring in a professional voiceover artist. And by professional, I mean somebody who's been experienced, somebody who's got training, somebody's got demonstrations, demos, and somebody who can even give you a custom audition because you want to make sure the sound is broadcast quality. You don't want somebody with a cheapo USB mic sitting in a noisy kitchen reading from a script. And if you choose to do it yourself online and you want to use a teleprompter, there are ways to do it. You don't want to look like a talking head with your head or your eyes going back and forth. That's a telltale sign that you're reading people. So yes, that is where I do a lot of my work. I do not just film and TV roles, but commercials, industrials, and print jobs, and voiceover. I do a lot of commercials and a lot of corporate work, videos for your website, training videos, which are called e-learning. Those fun little animated explainers are loads of fun, or whiteboard. I've done medical narration, and that's when you're going to have somebody be able to really have all those multi-syllables rolling off the tongue and make it sound like you really care. Or give that disclaimer at the end super fast where be careful, otherwise you might suffer mutilation or death.
Right.
You've got phone systems, you've got children's e-learning where you might want somebody who can use different voices. Animation and video games. It's all depending on what you want because there are voice artists that specialize in all those different areas. And so take your time, but you'll find that it's well worth it in the end because if it doesn't sound right, people aren't going to really be listening very much.
Yeah.
And when you get a new position, a voiceover position, how long, how do you get into that mode of being that type of person or even that person?
Yes.
I was just curious how you prepare yourself to be the different characters,
Oh, Joanne, you are a great straight woman. I'm telling you. It's called voice acting because it's voice acting, and you need to know something about that. And that includes things like script analysis. That's understanding what is the true message and who is speaking. I'm not just a reader. I might be the corporate executive. I might be the mom who is recommending a product to my friend. I might be the very caring doctor who is going to give you some advice and let you know everything is going to be okay. So it is all part of the training and to understand the material. Now, the person who is going to send over the job would also tell you this is what we want or try it a few different ways. But definitely, I would say they usually have a pretty good idea of what they're looking for. And most professional specs will tell you. And if it's just yourself and you don't know, that's when you talk to the voice actor. And what I usually do is do a number of different reads, just a few sentences here and there. Is this the pace and the tone? Do you like this? Do you like that? Because like I learned with IBM all those years ago, you want to do it right the first time and it makes everybody happier. Because if you have to go back and do revisions later, you do them.
So I have a quick question about the big thing now is shorts, right? Everybody's doing the shorts.
Yes.
So that they can go on Instagram. Even Facebook has a little mini reel.
YouTube.
Yes. Yeah, the TikTok, all of those. So any recommendations you can give people regarding those, like what to do, what not to do?
Oh, I do them all the time. And in fact, let me just give you a couple of references. One, on my YouTube channel, which is easy, at Laura Doman, I have videos to show you how you can do these short form. And by the way, the On-Camera Confidence series is all shot on short form, under 60 seconds, the most popular, easiest to watch. They're also long form on-camera tips for busy execs. But I even have some fun series, like one called My Momisms, where I just say funny, snarky things.
I love those.
When you walk into a gift shop and you see those little bizarre, snarky things on napkins, that's what I act out. They're under 10 seconds for the most part. If you're going to do that, then I would, again, just use your mobile phone, get a tripod, and decide where you're going to be, what you're going to say, and just keep it short and concise. But you got to hit the mark right out of the gate. Don't introduce yourself. Don't talk about what you're going to say. Go right out and give them a very interesting hook, a question, a point, something that challenges them about how to think about it, whatever it might be. There are some wonderful examples out there, and you could take a look. One I might even recommend would be, for example, Mr. Beast. I mean, he makes spectacles, so his. But as soon as you watch any of his stuff, you know immediately what it's all about, and then he delivers. So. And anybody, and anybody who wants to work in detail, just like on YouTube, and to take your videos you've already produced and really make them a lot better, I can even recommend somebody who can help you with that too. So I'm happy to give out referrals to other specialists, depending on what anybody's need is. You need a male voiceover? I got them. You need a real great LinkedIn specialist? Got them too.
Great.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about.
Can you share with us how to get a hold of you?
Please, yeah. You can, first of all, reach me at my website, lauradoman.com. You can email me at laura@lauradoman.com. Or you could just reach out and message me through any of the YouTube channels or Facebook or Instagram. And I think it's showing there, just at Laura Doman. And tell me what you need, and I'll be happy to help you out in any way I can.
And that's Laura, Laura, at Laura, Laura, Doman, DOMAN.com for those that are listening to us versus watching this. And you can find her on YouTube.com at Laura Doman, again, LauraDoman. Because I'm telling you, if you see some of the stuff she creates on with her momisms and stuff, which we'll be talking about that on another show, as well as her book, so do keep watching for Laura to be on our show again. It'll be on the Goodreads Authors Corner by LinktoEXPERT soon. But we just are so excited because of the fact that this woman is so multi-talented that we just couldn't fit her all on one show.
I just thought I'd show the book. I was actually one of 36 people around the world, marketing specialists, who contributed their know-how in 10 top tips on our areas. Mine's all about videos and how to leverage them, especially on YouTube. And we could talk more about it, but this is meant to be a handy-dandy guide. And by the way, it's been written, and Mark Schaefer is the guy who was in charge of it. He is a best-selling author many times over, worldwide known marketing specialist, and he put it all together with us. We have it so well done and concise. We've been accused of having this written by AI. No,
that's what I heard.
People, sorry, human beings.
Well, just so you know, it's the most amazing marketing book ever. That's the name of it. The most amazing marketing book ever. There's more than 350 marketing ideas packed into this book. So you don't want to miss out. Just go to Amazon and purchase the book. It's the most amazing marketing book ever. That's the name of it. And before we close, I want to make sure that we share the free gift that Laura is giving us here to all of our listeners. It's the top 10 tips for becoming more comfortable and effective on camera. And I tell you, we all need that no matter how long we've been doing this, because there are tips and tricks that we can learn. And, you just don't want to miss out on this wonderful free gift. So go to Laura and go ahead and say Joanne, go ahead and say the website.
Well, wait, there's more. There's more. If you go to that link, you'll also be able to, if you want to sign up, get a free 15-minute consultation about whatever you need to talk about. So take advantage.
Wow.
Thank you.
15 minutes plus the top 10 tips for becoming more comfortable and effective on camera.
Just go again to Laura Doman, LAURA Doman, DOMAN.com/consulting, CONSULTING. And we really appreciate everybody coming today. And again, we'll have her on another show soon. So really, thank you, Laura, for sharing all these tips. And we really appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening and learning. And we just thank you.
My pleasure.
So you all, we're going to be doing another show. So you want to make sure that you keep in touch with us. We're going to be talking about the book itself. And again, the book's name is The Most Amazing Marketing Book Ever. So we're going to be talking about that at some later time. So make sure you check back. Again, this is the Link to Expert Business Showcase. I am Cece Shatz, one of your hosts, and I have my wonderful good friend here with me, Joanne Weiland. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. That's our radio station. Make sure you check into that. And then, of course, we're on newsstreamingnetwork.com, home of Going Bold and Going Solo. Want to thank you for joining us here today. It has been a delight to be with you. So we'll see you next time. Bye for now.